Welcome to Born to Sell Denver with Brian Smith and Sean Moudry. Our guest today is Felicia Nichols. Felicia, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a Colorado native, a mom to a wonderful high school boy that keeps my heart rate up. And I've been in the real estate business for a little over 10 years.
Wow. Okay. What did you do before real estate?
I was in the insurance business.
Insurance? What kind of insurance?
Property and casualty, home and auto, a little bit of commercial, and was one of the first nationwide agents out here. Was recruited by a home builder to start an independent agency for them. And while it was a great experience, it wasn't mine and it wasn't enough. So got into the real estate business with my husband and had that cute little story of let's do this and do fix and flips. And,
oh, yeah.
You know, you work on that and then I'll sell them. And that little dream turned into a really good lifestyle and career for the both of us.
Very cool.
What's that lady's name on TV? The Magnolia Network?
Yeah.
Gaines?
Chip and Joanna.
Chip and Joanna.
Yeah.
That's you.
No, not exactly.
It didn't work out?
No, I'm not I don't really have that well of like a design touch.
Oh.
I'd rather go be outside.
Just pounded nails.
And sell and negotiate and wheel and deal.
That's
Very
awesome. Cool. You know, what's interesting is usually, I don't want to say usually, but I hear a lot of real estate agents that think that they would rather get into insurance because they think the residuals are better, you know.
Not me.
And you went the other way.
I did the same thing. I sold life insurance for a year.
Really?
Before I got into real estate. And I thought it was like basically talking about doom and gloom all the time.
Oh.
And I don't know. I thought I want to sell something actually that's going to make people happy.
People happy, yeah.
You know, it was a great business. It taught me a lot. I got a lot of fantastic sales training from corporate, right? But at the end of the day, it wasn't fulfilling. And sitting on a phone talking to people about their home and auto insurance was not filling my cup. And, you know, being able to help people achieve their goals through real estate and where they're going to live and they're going to have their babies and just build a life is a little bit more sexy. And also you're meeting really cool people. I have met some of my best friends through real estate and have acquired some really good friends because they were clients. Yeah. So I think for me, it's just the relationship building piece that it means a lot. That sounds really cheesy and cliche, but I think that when you're able to help people and you do a good job for them, they trust you, but again, you're building relationships with people that are meaningful.
Yeah. So where do you get most of your clients then? Well, first of all, let's back up. We didn't even talk about your production. Where's your production? What did you do last year? And how are you doing this year?
Yeah, so I would say that we are pretty steady eddies. My team is comprised and how I've really traditionally operated as an individual agent with assistant model. I've tried the team thing a couple times. It's challenging. But right now, my team really is comprised of myself and I make up probably most of the production on our team. We have our admin operations manager. She is amazing, runs all of our processes and systems. We have a part-time ISA, which actually I brought my mom in to help me out with that and clean up our database. And that's been a huge success. And then right now, one of my business partners or agents on our team is Alyssa. And she's not only one of my best friends, but we also met through real estate. I bought her house when she was selling her house in 2017 and just became fast friends after that. And she really wanted some more systems and processes to plug into, so joined our team about a year ago. So production-wise, we kind of stay right around that 550 GCI mark and hover right around the $20 million mark for volume.
Awesome.
Transaction-wise, we've actually seen that go down, but we're really excited because we've seen our average price point go up.
Okay. And tell me a little bit about that. So you brought that up when we were talking before this, is your average price point has gone up. So what have you done to get to that point?
Yeah, I think that part of it's just being in the business for the time frame that I have been. So you're really getting a lot of repeat clients and referrals. And I think also that the time frame that I've been in the business, my network has just elevated into, when I started, I was a young professional, but, as I've entered into my 40s, I'm probably a little bit more established, and therefore, that's my clientele as well. So I think that that's just kind of been a natural progression. And then also, as we feel that we've done a good job with marketing and making our listings look beautiful, I think that's also attracted a little bit higher level of a price point in people that want to work with us, because we're able to set ourselves apart on that.
What is it that you do for those people that makes you stand out?
Yeah, I think providing just really good service no matter what the price point is. So, even though our price point has gone up, or we've worked with builders and developers a lot, we still do love working with a first-time homeowner. So just giving everybody that really quality level of service and sitting down with everyone and making the whole process about them. So anytime we're doing a buyer or a seller consult, we're probably spending 30 minutes of that hour talking about, what's important to the client, and really listening to their needs and hearing what's important to them, from their time frame to why they're moving, because it's such a big personal issue going on at the time, or just again understanding what their needs are. And I can't tell you how many times that we've won a buyer or a seller because they simply said that we were the only ones that asked about them, where usually a lot of people are going in and telling them about their resume and how many homes that they've sold, and really people are missing the boat on just sitting down and listening to the needs of what people want. And if people feel listened and heard, and they feel like you understand that you can help them meet their goals and achieve what they want, they're willing to work with you because you listened.
Very cool. And so you're really building a connection with those people is what you're doing.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. And so as far as your marketing that you guys do, is your assistant doing all that? Are you farming that out to some product or somebody else?
We have tried pretty much everything under the sun. So, I think that what we as real estate agents love to do is make everything complicated. And we also love to think that nobody else can do it like we can. So, we've tried everything from hiring a marketing company to, hiring this company or that company. And at the end of the day, I think that we have really, especially right now today, as we're going through some growth pains, is realizing that we just need to keep everything kind of simple and understanding what's important to our brand and how do we want to be represented, and, having enough of a say in that, and, keeping, I guess, everything sort of templated in a way of having a checklist, like we're always going to do A, B, C, and D. And then, trying not to deviate from that, but making it stand out. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah. I have a question if we can double back on your team. So, you're operating as individual agents. So basically what you're doing, I'm just going to speak into how I'm in my mind, how this is laid out, is all the deals are being written under your name. How does your other licensed assistant work into that then?
So my assistant is not licensed. Okay. She's handling all the administrative stuff. So like all of our 36 touch, getting all of our mailers out there, newsletters, client events, making sure that we're running our team meetings. So she's unlicensed. I have a licensed TC that handles all my transaction coordination. And then Alyssa, who's another member on our team, just kind of plugs into our listing checklist, our buyer checklist that our admin
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
What is Alyssa licensed or not?
Yeah, Alyssa is licensed. Okay. And
so how does that operate?
Yeah. So her production still kind of comes up into the team. We're classified within KW as a team, which is 2 licensed agents.
Okay.
So that's how we're currently operating.
Okay. Because I love that business model, by the way. Like that's my favorite, is just the individual agent. Everybody's pushing through to support that agent. I think it's a lot easier to manage.
Yes.
And profitable.
And more profitable.
A lot more profitable usually.
Yeah. Because, when you start adding more and more agents, if you're a great leader or you're thrive by being around people, it can be wonderful. But if that's not your strength, it can be extremely challenging.
Yeah, I think, Sean, on that note, I just don't feel that we have the proper infrastructure to grow as quickly as maybe we would have liked to put together a team, right? Because you're still trying to Brian's point, be profitable, pay your people, keep up the same consistency that you've already had. But when you grow and you don't have that infrastructure in place, and that's where you really learn, that you can't handle that. And so, for what we're doing, it is really efficient. Of course, we would love to grow, but just right now is not the time to add additional people to the team, especially as I believe real estate's really changing. We have so much distraction that's happening, and that really seems to have created a buzz of, everything from COVID to interest rates to now the NAR lawsuits to,
what? What?
Yeah.
Have you heard of this?
It's come up once or twice, yes.
Okay.
But, we've kept our heads down and just really stayed focused and not gotten distracted by some of those things. And I think that's also proved in our production, where a lot of people struggled, in fourth quarter, and our production staying solid because, I think it's important to pay attention to that stuff and be educated about it. But if you focus on that, then you're not going to do any business. So,
that's such a good point right now is, we look at the numbers all the time, and, there's a lot of agents whose business is down. The market is down, 27% roughly, as far as number of transactions. I see agents that are down 55%. And really, it is really what they're focusing on, right? They're not paying attention to the opportunities in the market, and they're caught up in all the minutia.
100%. And I also think that, it's an interesting time because I think that we have a lot of agents in Denver that got into the market when, COVID was here, and you stick a sign in the yard and everybody has 1 million buyers and it's easy and everyone's making, a shitload of money.
Yeah.
And the reality is, now that that's gone away, I think people are afraid of hard work, and there's so much distraction around us, and with AI and the modern conveniences of social media and everything happens instantaneously, I think that there is a lack of work ethic, quite frankly.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think it's also adopting the new way to attract buyers and sellers too. I mean, the fact of the matter is when Sean and I started way long time ago, there was only a few ways you could actually communicate with your people. And so the people that I see that are doing really, really well right now are using social media. They're using different tools and different strategies than just sending a postcard. I mean, think about what people did back when we started. Mm-hmm. They sent out a postcard with their head on the picture, the main picture, and they said top 1%.
Yeah.
Or number one agent in Lakewood, and then it would have an asterisk that would say in this neighborhood during this time period, right?
For 2 months.
But now it's more about communicating in different ways and showing people how likable you are by using social media, I think. Mm-hmm. I mean,
Brian, that's so true because, I'll tell you, 2 years ago, we went to a conference and I took a couple members from my team, and, I really didn't have... If you went to go Google me 2 years ago, you probably couldn't really find much. My production has been mostly sphere-based, and so I just was like, it's too much effort to be online. So then my team was like, you can't be invisible anymore because, as we're going out and talking to other people that you've met, whether, that are not in your sphere, they can't find you and you're not relevant. And so I think I was trying to really hide from people on social media. I'm relatively private unless you're really within my inner circle. And my team really called me out. So I came back from that conference and we put together what I think is a beautiful website. So go check out milehighcollective.com and tell me what you think. But I think beyond that also, really improved our social media game. And when we kind of started out with that, it was like, what do you post? All right, great. Like all these pictures, we're not getting engagement. We're not growing. And, we've gone through some growing pains around that. But what I will tell you is that it has really improved my visibility to people that are still within my sphere, but that I haven't talked to in a couple years. And the other piece with that is the younger generation, like younger than me, is they're reaching out and communicating to us on Instagram and through social channels. So, we had somebody kind of set up in our world, right, where, trying to retarget them and put our website information, we're texting them, they're blocking us, opting out of everything. But then we get a message from them on Instagram, and that's how they're communicating. And we get an appointment with them. And, now we're working with them.
Very cool. So you're using Instagram. Are you using TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever it's called now? Are you using anything else or just purely just Instagram?
I am trying very hard this year to stick with a motto of keep it simple. So what is working well for us is Instagram. We're on TikTok, but I'll be honest, it's like so above my head, and I don't know if it's going away or what to do with it.
Yeah, it's going away.
Yeah,
Sean is going to have so much time on his hands.
Right. Yeah. TikTok seems to be much more entertainment than it is Instagram. So I think for most of the people I talk to that are generating leads through the social media platforms, Instagram seems to be the dominant one right now for real estate.
Yeah, I can't really say I'm an expert at all in any social media. So just
who does that for you then?
So that's been an evolving change, but we have recently hired a young gentleman who is working part-time for us to go out and shoot some pretty sweet drone footage, and we kind of just give him some ideas, and it's been a little bit of a growth. It's just been growing pains for him. Poor guy. We have probably sent him in 20 different directions. I don't know why he's still working with us, but I think we're getting closer to figuring it out. So, just the last couple of weeks, we were spending some time in Golden about, good places to go eat and drink. And, before that, good hikes to go on. So we're just trying to be very relevant and stick to the territories that we know. So I live in Golden. I like to play in Golden. I feel like I go out to eat in Golden. And so what can I offer people that maybe want to move to Golden, and painting that picture for a lifestyle? But I'm certainly not the expert there.
Well, that's cool. But I actually just taught that in the downtown office about, using social media to say, this is what it's like to live here, and do it through yourself and say, this is what I do. These are the things that I like to do. And not just in Golden, but also what does everybody think about people from Colorado? What's the number one thing that they do?
I sit on the couch, pretty much.
Drink beer, hike.
How about ski? I was looking for ski.
Yeah.
Everybody else that was listening to this is probably saying ski, right? And so just doing stuff like that, mountain bike, all the different things that you do for fun when you're not working.
Yeah.
And just showing that on social media so people can get an understanding, because we still do, although there was a lull for a little bit, that's still the number 4 place in the country that people are moving to. Yeah, we haven't even talked about that.
I didn't know that. Yeah,
because there was a year or two where we had negative growth.
Yeah,
but barely, and now we're number 4 in the country again. So people are moving here.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, and they got to live somewhere. They need a realtor.
Yep.
Right.
They would love to hire me.
It is really true. This weekend, my cousin moved out here about 6 months ago from California, and we were sitting around, and they were telling me all the things that they've done that are Colorado things, and they're all about it. They went river rafting, and instead of going up and
Casa Bonita.
No,
they can't get in. How do you get in there?
Yeah, right. They probably have been in it, but instead of going up and renting a raft with a guide, they went and just bought a raft, and they were like, "Oh, this is our lifestyle now." And I'm thinking,
who are you?
That's what I was thinking.
Good for them.
How Colorado did you get?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. They still need to go to Casa Bonita, though.
I'm telling you, they probably already done it. Yeah. They are hitting Colorado
They're more
hard.
Colorado than you are now.
They are way more.
I have
Colorado
never been there. I'm just going to say that.
Really,
I've
ever?
Never. I've been living here for now 30-some years. I've never gone to Casa Bonita.
Well, I think we need a round 2 at Casa Bonita.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear it's nice now. But anyway, my kids have been there. I just have never made it. So moving on, another thing that you do that you get a lot of success from is open houses.
Yes.
It hasn't come up. So tell me about that.
Yeah, I think open houses are a great way for agents to go and get free leads to build their business. It's really a great way that you can put yourself in front of people, and then, you're attracting the people that maybe want to work with you, and vice versa. The piece that I think, again, that is very important about that is your follow-up game. You can't, like, what's the point of going and spending a couple hours working an open house and you're afraid to collect people's information, and then you put all your open house sign-in cards in your, purse, and you walk away and you never call them again. And I think I see so many agents doing that. Like, what's the point of the money, the time, the energy, but really making sure that you're just connecting with people and listening to people and following up with them. And sometimes, I've had situations where people are ready to buy when they walk into that house. And you've had other situations where we followed up with someone for 2 years to finally earn their business when they're ready. The other thing that I do also believe as a listing agent is that open houses do sell your houses. So, that is an important piece that I think has really changed, where I'm finding more and more agents are not showing their buyers for some reason, or they're not available to get their buyers in at that exact time. And so I just overall really believe in hosting an open house.
Help us with that, because I think there's an art form to that. And I can admit I have never sold anybody from an open house. I think I'm too aggressive, right? And then I'm like, are you going to buy the house or what? Like, what's going on here? And then I let them in. No, I'm kidding. But before I let you in, no, but I think there's an art form to it. Do you have any tips for agents? Because I know there's a lot of agents that do open houses, and they do them. And to your point of maybe they're a little too fearful to ask for their contact information. What is the flow of that look like?
Yeah. So I think, first of all, picking the right open house. Like, I have seen agents host an open house for the 6 weeks that they've been on the market, both Saturday and Sunday. I mean, I don't agree with that tactic. So I think a really good open house is probably the first weekend that it's going to hit. So, for our listings, we make a really big effort to try and put everything in the MLS as a coming soon, up to a week if we can in advance. And then we're advertising that open house for an entire week online and making sure that it's syndicating to all the sites, whether you want people to go to the Big Z or, Redfin or whatever else, they're going to see that open house information on there. So make sure that they know they can come and, meet you and check out the property at that time. The other piece is we'll do door hangers, up to like 150 to 200 door hangers within the neighborhood where the open house is going to exist. We also have open house signing cards that collect a lot of information. So obviously, name, phone, email, mailing address, but then
it's a physical card.
Yeah.
Not the iPad.
Nope.
And you hit them with that right when they come in.
We welcome them in. So there's a couple things to that, though, like finding out where they came from or how they heard about us. So then when they come in, we try and do ideally 2 people in the open house, because it kind of allows us to hit people. And usually our open houses have about, anywhere from 15 to 20 parties that are coming through. We also do them in a 2-hour increment. So I don't believe in hosting the open house open for 4 hours, just because it's, I want more people in a short amount of time so that there's a little bit of a frenzy, especially if it's our listing, because we want people to kind of panic that they're going to lose the house and they want to get in there. There's going to be multiple offers. So when they come in the door, hey, Sean, how are you? What brings you in today on purpose? Or did you just see our signs? And that just kind of gives people like a good, that gives us a good indication, like, oh no, most people are there on purpose. They saw it on Zillow.
Right. Because if
I like that line.
Yeah. Because if they drove there from Zillow, they're shopping. If they drove by the sign, they're just curious, possibly just curious.
Exactly. Yeah. I also serve mimosas or like bubbly water at my open house. So like welcoming people in, and then I'm shoving a little clipboard in their face and say, hey, do me a favor, sign in for me if you don't mind. Oh, and by the way, can I get you a drink? And that immediately, I think, like just takes down the defense for people, and then they don't really have an opportunity to say no. I have, like you, had a situation before where this woman kind of started an altercation with me because she didn't want to sign in. And I just said, I'm really sorry. If you don't want to sign in, then I will have to ask you to leave, because somebody does live here and I'm hosting somebody's open house open. Yeah. So,
and that was,
did you throw down? Were there punches thrown?
No, you know what? She came back. She came back in and signed in, and she got very upset. And she just said, well, I was going to give you a double end deal on this. And I just said, I'm so sorry that you're frustrated, but I'm happy to call your agent. Like, you just also have to be nice to people too, because there's so much to kind of balance.
I'm actually glad you said that, because I've used that. I've said to them, especially during, right after COVID, right? I mean, what a great time to readapt a new behavior, to say, I'm sorry, everybody has to sign in. It's a requirement. And then now it's, the seller, there's somebody who lives in this home. The seller, we ask us to keep track of anybody who comes into the home, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's just basic security.
It is. I mean, I've had other agents on my team previously that, they've hosted open houses and prescriptions have gone missing or something valuable. So it's just, that is a risk that you have to coach your sellers on to put that stuff away. But you are really allowing strangers. Like, when else do we allow just complete strangers to come in and walk into $1 million property?
Sean does all the time, actually.
I'm not surprised.
He just leaves his doors unlocked.
I cannot remember the last time I actually was teaching a listing class last week, like an impromptu, and the agent said, I'm going to do open house, the one I'm kind of coaching through this, and his listing value was, I'm going to do open houses until I have to get, as long as it takes to get your house sold. And I said, I will crush you at a listing appointment, because I'm going to say, I'm going to have this sold before the open house. Right?
Yeah, Sean, I think that's an important, going back to what I was saying initially, like, I don't believe in that tactic, and if you want to meet good people at an open house, you shouldn't be doing the same open house all the time.
Yeah.
So I think another good open house opportunity is like either at a price reduction or some sort of like movement on the listing that's happened that you can get a new fresh pair of eyes in there. So.
Very cool. Okay, so you got your sphere of influence, and you have open houses, and you also do some development.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, the development's fun. What do you want to know?
Well, I think actually probably the first time I ever met you, you were doing a project off of like Colfax and I don't remember the exact street.
Ingalls. It was Luna Flats.
Luna Flats,
and I had the privilege of working with a developer that I've had a long time relationship with, actually. And they were working with another agent, and I think I proved my value to them by finding them lots that they could develop, and by bringing them something, then I was helping myself and able to kind of win that list back opportunity. But the condo project was definitely my biggest project. It was an 18-unit condo project, and our targeted price point at that time was really trying to hit under that $400,000 price point because of how expensive Denver has become, and just giving kind of the younger professionals that are still interested in living close to Sloan's Lake, an opportunity for housing. So
yeah, I think you actually showed it to me, and then like a week later, I saw you again, and I said, "So how's it going?" And you're like, "They're all sold out."
What?
Yeah, it wasn't that easy, but
well, you made it look that easy.
Well, thanks. Really, it was a lot of hard work to try and get a lot of pre-sales, in there before you had a product to sell. Like, you were selling people on a vision that they could own, a home in this price point and the lifestyle that you're painting, because I literally only had, framing up to bring people through and say, oh, here's your potential views, But we did end up selling that project out. And the hard part was that it was new construction also during COVID. So getting inspectors to get out there and meet the timeline was a huge challenge. But one of the things that I can say that we did is we brought in a couple of preferred lenders, and we did choose to go with some of the bigger banks because they could offer up to a 12-month rate lock. And so if you guys remember what happened a couple years ago, our interest rates went from 2.5% to 3% all the way up to like 6%. Right. And so because we had everybody locked in at a 12-month rate lock, we were still able to sell that project out at the end of the year, where a lot of our competition, I don't think, made that same move, and they were still kind of struggling to get that product sold even at that same price point.
Yeah, remember there was like a period of time where the builders had like something like 15% of their deals fell apart.
Correct.
Like, it was crazy.
Wow. So what made you want to get into development, and how did you get into that?
Yeah, got into that actually. One of my, probably my biggest developer client, he and I sat on a neighborhood board in Denver, Sunnyside United Neighbors, and he was really leading like the development stuff, and I was working on more of the education stuff in the neighborhood. And out of that really kind of just evolved this relationship because he was getting into new construction, still bartending. I was in the insurance business, kind of, doing the part-time thing for, getting my license and just building that relationship. My husband actually was kind of on the early side of wholesaling before it like really blew up and you heard so much about what it is today. And, he was really focusing on a lot of infill development opportunities. So finding, the lots for a lot of the developers within Denver. And so being able to like bring those developers some value and say, hey, I have this opportunity for you, but can I have the list back on it if I give this to you? And so that's kind of how I got into the development piece. And they were like, well, we have another agent that we're working with. I'm like, let me prove myself, please.
Yeah.
And so a couple of years into that, after, bringing them a couple opportunities, I think I really did prove myself because the other agent had just let some of the listings like sit there and do price reductions and wasn't working it. And, there was a point that they came to me and said, hey, Felicia, like you have proved yourself. We're ready to go all in with you. We're letting this other guy go. And I got the opportunity to come in and take over this like 6, townhome home project, that he had previously listed. And so we kind of had to recover from the fact that he kept reducing the price on it. And, yeah.
Did you raise the price?
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. And we open housed them. So, I'm a big believer in open houses.
That's awesome.
So, yeah. So that was kind of how that got started.
Do you have anything coming up at all? Are you looking at anything for any new projects?
New construction wise, I've probably just been more of a silent partner investing in some projects. So we have done that. We've got a couple other irons in the fire here in Colorado, and then we've been doing more syndications out of state. I am finding that a lot of developers right now, if they're kind of in that middle area, are sitting on the sidelines. I think the profit margin is maybe just gotten a little bit harder because everything has just gotten a lot more expensive and is worth like seeing things shift just a little bit. Maybe they're not as much of a slam dunk as before, but maybe I'm wrong. Who am I?
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong. It seems to me the cities are getting a little bit more challenging to get through too. I was having this conversation with a gentleman this week about the difference between doing a tear down and doing a dirt start, right? In an infill. And I said, do the tear down, or at least, a remodel is a lot easier because trying to get through zoning and planning is, it could take a long time.
Yeah, that's interesting, Sean. I see that's tough because I would also say like a lot of buyers are starting to wonder if they should build themselves, right? And I think on like each of the municipalities or, things are a little bit different in different places where, like Golden, for example, really was kind of anti-development, but now you're starting to see a lot of development there. So I can't say that I have a good, clear answer for you.
Very situational.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, so lots of changes in the real estate industry. How's that going to affect all the stuff with the settlements and all the things out there? What do you think is going to be different? How do you think this industry is going to change?
What I think is going to be different, well, I certainly am not the smartest person in the room, but...
You probably are, actually. Yeah. The bar is set pretty low.
We agree with this statement.
Well, I don't agree, but what I will say is, I think agents need to just go back to the basics to keep yourselves out of trouble. From what I understand in Colorado, we're maybe a little bit ahead of the game because we've had a buyer agency agreement. And I would say, you should not be working with anybody unless you have that signed that you have outlined how you're getting paid, and educating people because there's so much media out there that's not really giving you accurate or correct information. It's a story. And at the end of the day, people still need to buy a home and people need to still sell a home. People are having babies, getting married, getting divorced, need to downsize. So it's, getting really good at articulating your value and why people want to work with you, because more than ever before, I've seen people saying, well, I don't need to hire you. So yeah, I can keep going on a couple more things, but I think we're going to see a lot of people exiting the industry. I've already seen a lot of agents starting to go get part-time jobs, and then that turns into their focus isn't real estate anymore. So I am seeing even just, people are not able to keep up with the standard that, you should really be giving people as a full-time agent. So I think we're going to see a lot less agents. I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing. I think, we have our bar as real estate agents, and I'm sorry to my fellow colleagues, but the bar is just set really low. And so if you can,
That's how we got in.
Yeah,
literally. Yeah.
I was wondering. No,
it's true.
at all.
It's actually it's true. Okay. And let's just be real for a second.
Yeah.
The reality is I think now moving forward, you're going to have to be a lot more professional.
Yep.
You're going to have to know what to say and know what to do. And I think a lot of agents took for granted the fact that they knew they were going to get paid if they worked with a buyer because it was in MLS. And, I'm not sure what I can say legally about all this, but at the end of the day, now you're going to have to work and you're going to have to show your value. It's funny. Like I asked in a class that I did recently, I said to this group, what is your value as a buyer's agent? Okay. And there wasn't a very good answer. And as a listing agent, we're trained and we know what we have to do in order to earn our commission.
Yeah.
Okay. And you market the property and you do all the things that you do. And now for the first time, we're going to actually have to identify what you do to earn your commission. And I think that's great.
What blows my mind is the comments from agents on social media. Like some of the stuff they're saying, you're going, this is literally why there was a settlement. Like this kind of conversation that's going on, and just the absolute disconnect from the responsibility of being a buyer's agent and providing value and negotiating your fee. Like there's a huge disconnect. So my concern is, and to your point, probably not so much in Colorado because we do have an agency agreement that's very clear on that. You just read the contract. Like, how about we just do what's in the contract, right? That's pretty easy in Colorado. But nationally, I think we're gonna see a lot of people in trouble. Let's just put it that way.
I agree with that. And I mean, it's our job to know that contract and be able to explain it to somebody. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people that are putting a contract to buy and sell in front of people and they say, here, read it and sign it. Yeah. And other agents. And so I think, going back to, I forgot who said it, but I mean, the problems that are in our industry, I think have been self-induced. And, I don't think, I mean, I don't know what the solution is, but, all that I can focus on is, like you said, providing value and knowing my value proposition for my clients, for the brokerage that I'm at. And, I think being behind some of these bigger names today seems a little bit more important than maybe it has in the past.
Well, I think the other part of that too is things change a lot faster these days than they used to.
Agreed.
And so having a company that can change, that has the capital to make those changes. Like I was talking to somebody the other day about technology, and this person said to me, I love the technology of where I'm at. And I said, well, that's cool and all for today, but it'll be different next year because it'll be obsolete. And that's the thing about technology right now is that it changes almost every month now, where something new comes up or is different, or somebody changes some algorithm or whatever. And being able to keep up is going to be the challenge.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to kill me for saying this, but I don't use a lot of the Keller Williams technology, right? But where I do find value within the KW brand is there's just so much education that you can, you don't even know where to start initially. But I think you have to just pick something, and being a part of KW has been invaluable in my career. And I think, has contributed to my success. But I think on the technology front, again, my motto this year is just keeping everything simple. Yeah. I mean, we tried everything under the sun last year and it was a wild goose chase, right? We are always the guinea pigs of here, spend money on this and here, buy this and try this. And how many times do agents say, I just lost a ton of money on this because it didn't work? Well, of course, somebody selling you that is going to promise all of those things. But in a world where everything is changing, just focus on what works and go back to the basics and just keep your blinders on.
Yeah.
Well, that's funny you say that because it's not just the agents, it's the brokerages too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we spent a lot of money last year trying to play the online lead game.
Yep.
And, it was interesting. I know that there's people that are really good at that. And so those people do an awesome job and they've got it figured out. And at the end of the day, most people, like 75, 80, 90% of their business comes from their sphere of influence.
Yeah.
And like I love what you do with your technology. You said earlier you use your technology to reach out to your existing people.
Right.
It's not necessarily to go attract, although it does attract some people, I'm sure, because people will see your posts. But at the end of the day, you're communicating with your database is what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. But I think, again, simplifying it. I think, last year we went a little crazy trying to just experience all the new things and thinking that we had to have everything if we were going to keep up and grow. But the reality is, you just need a few tools. And more importantly, you need to use them and understand how they work. And if you can just stay focused on, the very few small things that work for you and that you know how to use, then you can be successful.
You know what that makes me think of is we're talking about this, and we were chatting a little bit offline about AI, but I think that's the risk with AI is so powerful on one end of the spectrum, but on the other, as soon as your customer feels like there's AI between them and you can instantly lose trust.
100%. But I think you have to know how and when to use it. So like we've played with AI. We are using text AI for like a higher volume of leads that are a little bit colder, right? So if somebody comes to our website and they revisit that, then we will have AI automatically engage with that lead because really, we don't have the budget to have 10 ISAs on the team calling everybody in the database. So then we have we're relying on technology that if people are responding with that, then we can jump in and take over the conversation. We also tried AI with voice where like the robot is calling
did you try that?
Yes. And, I think it's our market. A lot of people in a different market had a lot more success with that. Where when I compared, our numbers to some other even bigger agents in Colorado, a lot of people were just having low results with it. But it's pretty incredible because, this AI robot is honestly handling objections better than some of the people that could have handled them.
Because they're not trying to be creative.
They have a script. That's right.
Well, because
they followed the script.
Well, and also because AI is they're gathering all of this intelligence from the thousands of agents that are using this technology. So they're being trained and getting smarter. So I think it's a fine balance. Like, I think if you're not using some of it, you get a little bit left behind. But if you're not using it at a high level, what are you doing? You shouldn't be using it anyway.
You know what's funny is I was having this conversation last week with a gentleman. We were talking about direct mail, right? And I love direct mail. Like I love the consistency of it. It's very predictable. It's very simple. But what's funny is if you put it as a letter in an envelope, you will get callbacks of people that hate you. Like they're like mad. They're like, you're harassing me. And they're like super intentful. Or every now and then you'll get someone who's like, thank you for your sweet letter. It was really nice, whatever. But if you send a postcard, you get zero hate back. Nobody has any
They're just throwing it in the trash.
It's so funny though.
But we still do direct mail too. Like that's a part of it. But Sean, people are going to hate us or love us anyway. Yeah. Like it's just part of it. So it's a numbers game.
That's
like
an important part. I think just not being attached.
Exactly. Like you have to do all the different things.
But what we came up with is people get frustrated because they had to invest time to open the envelope. And that's why they're so angry. Versus
people
a postcard.
Are also investing time because you sent them a text message and now they're getting a part of, now we're getting bundled into huge lawsuits and being sued for texting people. Yeah. So like people are just pissed.
I know.
Well, I think
it's amazing to me.
This is where my conversation around like them feeling like there's a layer of AI between you and them, right? Where they feel like all of a sudden, and maybe this is just my fear. I don't know. As a consumer, I don't believe I've had a lot of AI interactions from a sales standpoint yet. I'm sure it's coming.
That's interesting. I don't know. I feel like we've played with the AI thing so much. Definitely we're like, we don't have it figured out. I'm not seeing that, but I've just listened to so many of these crazy phone calls. I mean, I could pull one up right now. They're really cool. But then
I think
also
we need to have this pulled up.
Well, we got to do another podcast because we only have like a minute left. So I really just want to get to.
Can I say one more thing
Sure.
to Sean though? Like on the AI front, right? I think you are probably utilizing it more than you realize.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you can type something into ChatGPT and say, hey, like correct this email for me. Or I know a listing description that I want to put together and I know the 5 solid points, but we used to hire a copywriter to write our listing description. And now we just pop it into ChatGPT off like saying, you know, generally this is what we want. And you can't just take the first thing that comes back out and say, you know, take it this way. You have to keep massaging it a little bit. So I think your interactions are maybe more than you realize. Maybe.
No, I agree. No, yeah. I just mean like as far as somebody having a conversation with me or, you know, who knows?
Who knows?
Maybe this
is all an AI.
Test it.
Right.
It's like that commercial
Maybe
where she says, "Are you a robot?" And the person responds,
"How would I know?
Are you a robot?" She says, "How would I know?" Or how would
But that's where you can play with it and see who you're talking to.
All right. So to close, what's next? Where are you going? Where's your team going? What do you want to accomplish?
We're just, like I said, keeping things simple, back to the basics, just trying to stay our steady Eddie with our numbers. We'd love to grow, but you know, we're already halfway through the year. So our plans for this year to just kind of keep it the same, be consistent, keep our head down, keep up with what we've done in the past.
Awesome. Well, Felicia, thanks for coming today. If anybody wants to get a hold of you, how do they contact you?
MileHighCollective.com.
All right. Go to the website.
Our Instagram page, or just find Brian and he'll get you in touch.
Awesome. I'm going to give out your phone number to everybody that contacts me.
I can't wait.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Felicia. Felicia Nichols, thank you for being here and appreciate everybody's time.
Thank you.